Now on the CW Augusta.
There's no way to take this flag down.
The eyes of the nation on South Carolina tonight as lawmakers decide the fate of the Confederate battle flag. And a happy ending to an anxious 3 days for one very special dog. It is 10 o'clock on the CW Augusta, and happening now at 10. We are just hours away from an historic vote by the South Carolina Senate on whether or not to remove the Confederate battle flag from State House grounds. But that really is just the first hurdle in what could prove to be a fairly lengthy process. Good Monday evening to you, everybody. South Carolina State Senate has already voted to take the flag down, but by law, it has to pass a third reading tomorrow, after which it could then go to the House for debate. Robert Kittle is in Columbia tonight.
That's not up for debate, nor will it be.
If the bill passes both the House and the Senate, it would need Governor Nikki Haley's signature. She has already said she will sign, and tonight released a statement saying, in part, quote, "The South Carolina Senate today rose to this historic occasion with a large majority of members from both parties coming together in the spirit of unity and healing that is binding our state back together and moving us forward in the right direction," end quote.
Had some showers roll across the metro area. Looking for upper 90s, John, to come our direction.
It had to come back sooner or later,
That's
I suppose. All right, George. Happy end to a story that many of you have been following on our Facebook page today and into the night. Zeus has been found. His owners hadn't seen him since he got away from him during a walk on Saturday. Zeus also happens to be the mascot for the J.D. Paul Foundation that honors the late Richmond County deputy killed in the line of duty back in 2011. Nicole Snyder live in the newsroom tonight.
A reunion too good for words.
He hugged her. I can't believe he actually hugged her. Coolest thing. New at 10 tonight, the city of Augusta is expanding its herd of goats that maintain the grass around retention ponds. 10 new additions going to join the workforce soon. Some of the goats were bought, some of them were donated, some of them were bred. The total cost less than $1,000, but officials say taxpayers will save in the long run.
To really make a difference.
4 months ago, 8 of the goats, of course, were killed in that dog attack. The program put on hold temporarily, but it is now back in business. Good news for students and teachers and parents at Glasscock County High School. The Georgia Department of Transportation awarding nearly $450,000 today to redo J.W. Braswell Road in Gibson from Beale Springs to School Circle Drive. DOT says the work's going to help with school traffic by creating a new entrance to this parking lot to the school. Big drug bust in Aiken County. Bruce Knight, Patricia Ross charged with selling methamphetamines after a traffic stop. Deputies pulled him over for speeding. They say they found drugs, 4 guns, and more than $18,000 in cash. Both Ross and Knight in the Aiken County Jail tonight. Richmond County investigators need your help finding this man. Randy Smith hasn't been seen since last Wednesday. He has bipolar schizophrenia. Take a good look at him. If you do see anything or if you know anything, please call the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Stop me if you've heard this one. Tomorrow, Augusta city leaders will try again to approve a stormwater fee. The fee would raise millions of dollars for drainage work. It was tabled after much debate last month because not enough commissioners voted in favor. Last week, Mayor Hardy Davis said that commissioners have been working behind the scenes to get a deal done, but other commissioners say they're still not sure if that support is there.
No, I don't have the slightest idea.
Yeah, so Lockett supports the fee, but it says only if it stays at the recommended $6.40 a month for most homeowners. Other commissioners want to put off a vote until November when voters will decide whether to extend the sales tax. Tomorrow, the end of a 21-year era in the CSRA. It's Ben Harbin's last day in his House District 122 seat. Last week, he, of course, announced he's resigning to become a lobbyist. Governor Nathan Deal will have to call for a special election to fill that seat. And the road to the White House runs through our area tomorrow. Republican presidential candidate Mike Huckabee will make 2 stops in the CSRA. First, the Edgefield General Store in Edgefield at 9 a.m. Then at 11:30, he will be the featured guest at the Aiken County GOP luncheon. That'll be at Newberry Hall in Aiken. Tickets $25 on the Aiken GOP's website.
Complete validation.
After years of speculation, Bill Cosby admits to some accusations. We live in important times.
We do.
There are a lot of big issues.
They certainly are.
None probably that will get people up in arms like this one. Take a look. Oreos are getting a makeover. There will soon be a grown-up version. The cookies of these Oreo Thins they're coming out with have a crisp, delicate texture, we were told, and appear to look more sophisticated than the classic Oreo.
Sophisticated.
I don't know how you have
Sophisticated
a sophisticated cookie, but that's what the sales pitch is. 4 Oreo Thins are 140 calories. That is less than 3 classic Oreos, so you can eat more of them, I guess is the idea. They will hit supermarket shelves July 13th in original, golden, and mint flavors.
I don't know why you fuss around with a classic. You know?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, if you're eating Oreos, I'm thinking your waistline, your diet is not really your first priority.
You got a liter of cold milk and you got an open bag and you're going at it, right?
Yes.
That's it.
I mean, it's not something you should do every day.
No.
But, you
every
know,
once in a while.
when you got to do it, you got to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with the original.
That's right.
Or the double stuff. And you know, Brad
I
Means
like
and I
it.
were talking earlier, you can take 2 double stuffs and twist them and then make like a quadruple stuff.
Maybe they'll come up with that next. Yeah.
Maybe. All right, George, coming up, the debate over illegal immigration heating up after a man deported 5 times. He is now charged with murder and being protected by one city's policy. An illegal immigrant already deported 5 times is now charged with murder. Francisco Sanchez is going to be arraigned tomorrow for the death of Catherine Steinle. Sanchez was a repeat drug offender in the U.S. illegally and been deported 5 times. He was out on the streets at the time of the killing because San Francisco officials had disregarded a request from immigration authorities to keep him locked up. The city's sanctuary law prevents city workers from cooperating with the feds on immigration cases. Big news in the Bill Cosby controversy tonight. The Associated Press getting its hands on a 2005 deposition in which Cosby admits to getting drugs to use on women with whom he wanted to have sex. Gio Benitez has the story. Still ahead, the 3rd time was not the charm for one local golfer, but he has about 500,000 reasons not to worry too much about it. Sports is next. Good Seinfeld coming up next.
Aren't they all?
Well, that's true. The caddy. George is a genius in this one. He figures out a way to make it look like he's working when he's not really working. Yeah. It's as routine as starting the car. Directions to 1001 Reynolds Street. Plugging your destination into your GPS.
Starting route to 1001 Reynolds Street.
But is saving minutes off your trip taking years off your brain?
What we need to recognize is that, okay, this is affecting us in ways that we hadn't thought of before.
Dr. Alexandra Roach is a professor of psychology at USC Aiken.
If we're not doing things to help build the gray matter in our brain by challenging ourselves cognitively, then we're not really providing that base, that scaffolding that's going to help us in the long run.
A British study found that when we start a trip, our brain naturally maps out a route.
Turn right onto Marks Church Road, then turn right onto I-20 East.
But when we use our GPS, the brain doesn't do this. And over time, that can become a problem.
Do you lose the abilities if you no longer practice them? And that's definitely going to be true.
Dr. David Blake is a neuroscientist at the Medical College of Georgia at Georgia Regents University.
Will that have some sort of overall decline in cognitive ability as you age? And we know that within that one little milieu of cognitive ability, you will decrease.
In other words, the more you use your GPS or your list of contacts, the more you'll lose the ability to read a map or remember a phone number.
Keep right on I-20 East toward Columbia.
We need to start looking at this as something that really is affecting us. There is this environmental impact on our brains and using this technology.
The 2 parts of the brain most involved with our ability to find our way to a destination are also 2 of the first to be damaged in age-related dementia. A Canadian study found that over-relying on our GPS can lead to underusing these parts of the brain.
Absolutely, there's a use it or lose it component to the brain.
However,
one realm of cognition is not going to have a huge impact on something like decline into dementia, but rather it's really the full range of domains.
Turn left onto Riverwatch Parkway.
Just because we're relying on our GPS and we're not paying attention to our surroundings doesn't mean our hippocampus is going to atrophy. We just need to make sure that we're stimulating our brains in other ways.
We do need to be cautious about the introduced new use of technology. Like I said, it's a wonderful new set of tools, but it has pros and cons.
It'll be interesting to see. We won't know, as I said, for decades what the actual effects of all this are.
Arrive. Turn right onto Wheeler Road.
Okay, so using your GPS won't necessarily lead you to early onset dementia, but it can definitely be a factor.
One realm of cognition is not going to have a huge impact on something like decline into dementia, but rather it's really the full range of domains.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Vine. And what are we doing while we're looking at all this stuff?
A lot of this multimedia tasking by its nature is a sedentary activity.
Dr. Alexandra Roach is a professor of psychology at USC Aiken. She spent the last 6 years studying the effects of all this sitting around on the aging of the brain.
What I find most disturbing is this increase in obesity. And the long-term ramifications of that, we know that already. And so that's one thing that we could focus on now, knowing the outcomes.
Long story short, sitting around packs on the pounds, which leads to obesity. Obesity is the _1 cause of diabetes, and
if you have diabetes, you're more likely to convert from mild cognitive impairment to Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So that is something that I think we can focus on as an issue that we really know how that could play out.
And all these devices seem to be stressing us out. A recent Sussex University study showed that people who routinely stare at more than one screen at a time show increased risk of depression and emotional problems.
We know there are certain forms of stress that are associated with internet use, especially constant availability stress.
Research also shows stress leads to increased levels of cortisol, a hormone released by the adrenal gland. Cortisol can lead to obesity, and obesity leads to, well, I think you know the rest.
We're increasing their risk for vascular risk factors such as diabetes, hypertension, and these have been shown in adults to have effects on cognitive aging.
Simply put, the best way to keep your smartphone from making you dumber?
You want to stay in shape, you want to stay thin, and you want to use your brain on a regular basis over a wide range of cognitive domains.
It should just serve as a motivating factor for maybe reassessing how we interact with technology in our lives, so that we can make sure that we're not putting ourselves at a disadvantage for later.